Good morning. Thank you for joining us for this webinar, e-commerce for your small business success. Today's presenter is Curt Anderson. I'm your moderator, Renee Goodnow from New York Small Business Development Center. Your host is the Niagara Small Business Development Center, and joining us from Niagara is Center Director Lynn Oswald. And with that, I will turn things over to Lynn, who just came on camera to introduce Curt.
Good morning, everyone. I'd like to thank you for joining us this morning. We're very proud to present a program for e-commerce, which is just such a huge topic right now. Many of you have had to adapt business models to now include, improve, add on, just to make yourself visible and to conduct business in a new way. So we're really excited about today's program. If you're not familiar with the Small Business Development Center, we are a not-for-profit organization. We've been around since 1984. We receive funding from the SBA and SUNY, and because of our generous funding partners, we are able to provide free one-on-one confidential counseling. So if you have any questions, we are happy to be here for you, and we are located across the state. So my organization is hosted by Niagara County Community College. You're welcome to give us a call. The 716-210-2515, and Renee usually puts all of that information into the chat box. And you'll also be able to, sorry, forgot to mute my phone. Always something bad. You'll also be able to find an SBDC near you. We are across the state. And it's always nice to work with a local representative that may know of some specific programming and networking in your area. You can find us at NYSBDC.org, and there's a map, and you can find a location near you. So again, thank you for joining us this morning, and please take advantage of these great taxpayer-supported services. Our speaker today is Curt Anderson. He is the owner of B2B Tail. He describes himself, and I really like this description, as an e-commerce evangelist for manufacturers. He helps companies across the country develop online marketing strategies that work. His extensive work history includes 4 years working with the SBDC as an advisor in our Jamestown Center. So he really has worked with a gamut of businesses. He was the center's social media guru. His work included conducting many local training programs and also providing training to our statewide staff of SBDC advisors. And before I turn it over to him, I do have to mention he graduated from Ohio State. Go Bucks. Curt, it's all yours.
Hey, thank you so much, Lynn. What an absolute honor. And let me, you know what, always kicks that off. Let me do this. So can everybody see my screen okay? We're on SBDC. So thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us. Lynn, thank you for the kind introduction. As a matter of fact, if anything happens to me, could you please contact my wife and write up my obituary? That would be wonderful. Appreciate it very much. So today, folks, we're going to talk about e-commerce. It is an absolute honor and privilege to be with you today. And thank you. A huge shout out to the SBDC. And so let's go ahead and jump right in. And before I do that, I just want to say I hope everybody's been safe and keeping healthy, and we're fighting our way through this crazy time that we're in. So let's kick things off with a Jeopardy question, if you will. The question is, what is 49%? What is 49%? 49% represents US e-commerce. Sales jumped in the US 49% for just April. Isn't that crazy? So kudos to you for taking time out of your schedule to educate and learn about this wonderful thing called e-commerce. Now, what I want to say is we're going to strap on our seatbelts and pretend, since a lot of us are Western New Yorkers, we're going to pretend that we're over at Darien Lake. And one thing that I want to share, that e-commerce is a roller coaster ride, if you will. We want to, but the thing is that our e-commerce ride doesn't need to be terrifying, like going over the falls in a barrel like lovely Annie Taylor did on her birthday in 1901. What we want to do, folks, today, we want to kind of help bring down that those challenges, or maybe hopefully you're not overwhelmed. We want to get you off the sideline, and we want to get you in the game. Now, don't you love when people do a webinar and you look on here and this chart has all sorts of numbers and configurations on here. You're like, what on earth is this? I'm going to ask you to look at one column and one number. So this chart represents US e-commerce sales will jump 18% for 2020. So let's look at this middle column right here, okay? This blue line right here says 14.5, 14.5. What that number represents down here, total percentage of e-commerce sales compared to all retail sales. That means that e-commerce sales are less than 15%. Ladies and gentlemen, there's a 85% upside potential, 85% upside opportunity for all of us in e-commerce. So the question is, where to start? So a great place to start, again, I want to give a huge thank you. We give virtual hugs to our friendly team and advisors at the Small Business Development Center. And Lynn just kind of gave you a quick introduction. I just want to tell you, Lynn Oswald is absolutely amazing. She has put together a team. They're not just rock stars. They're not just all-stars. They are Hall of Famers, folks. You are very blessed. If you live in the Niagara region, please contact your Small Business Development Center. I've had the privilege of working with a number of her advisors. Big shout out to Maureen. We've done a couple workshops together. They can help you if you're in agriculture, tourism, manufacturing. Their services are completely free, confidential. If you're coming to us from a different part of the state, please contact your local Small Business Development Center. Again, they've helped hundreds of businesses through these challenging times through COVID right now. So could I see a show of hands of how many people are longing to capture those first page rankings? That's what we're going to talk about today. How about landing pages that help you drive sales? We're going to hit that today too. And how about if we could help you create six-figure e-commerce opportunities? We're going to hammer that out as well. Now, as Lynn said, coming to you live from Lakewood, New York, which I'm on the shores of lovely, beautiful Chautauqua Lake in the southwestern corner of New York State. This is my LinkedIn profile. I would be honored. It would be a privilege to connect with you on LinkedIn. I'd love to hear what you have going on. Now, also down here, I love going to Niagara Falls, folks. If you are tired of sitting at home, you're looking for a little day trip, go hit Niagara Falls. My family and I were thinking about doing that this weekend. However, if you are looking for a good laugh, come down here in the southern tier in Chautauqua County. We have the National Comedy Center. We're trying to be the Cooperstown of comedy. So if you want a good laugh, come visit me. So my e-commerce journey started in 1995. This is me hanging out trying to figure out e-commerce with my computer. And folks, I had a wholesale business in 1995. I was in downtown Buffalo on the corner of Genesee and Michigan. And man, I was struggling. I had another wholesale business down here in the southern tier in Jamestown, and I was a train wreck, to be truthful with you. And I got in e-commerce for one reason and one reason only. It was out of sheer desperation. And boy, it turned out to be a great thing. E-commerce is the way to go. So now that was a long time ago, and I know what you're thinking to yourself, man, this guy's really old, and I am. But okay, I hate to do this. If you have a weak stomach, please don't look at this next slide, but I just want to give you a reference of how long ago 1995 was. It was the last time our beloved Buffalo Bills were in the playoffs. I know this year's our year if we have a football season. So anyway, I'm sorry to throw that out at you. So over the course of 25, 30, 40 years, or whatever it's been, I've been in e-commerce. I've come up with a bunch of e-commerce resource guides for you. I believe, Lynn, I think we're gonna be sending out an e-commerce checklist to you. I also have a bunch of other resource guides. Now I've written so many resource guides, I wrote a book. So I know when you do these webinars, you're thinking, okay, where is the shameless plug? And folks, here it is. I'm going to get it right out of the way. During COVID, over the past few months, I wrote a book. It's called Stop Being the Best Kept Secret. And if you stick with me to the end of the program, I can hook you up with these free resource guides, and I might even have a free copy of the book. But what we're going to do today is I want to take you on an e-commerce journey, if you will, and I'm going to share a little success story. And the most important thing as we go through this whole process, and this is exactly kind of the mission with the Small Business Development Center and myself, it's all about you. How can we help you on your entrepreneurial journey? Now in e-commerce, again, I've been in e-commerce, I think it's been about 50 years now. So in e-commerce, if we're gonna do a workshop on all the mistakes and I've made, all my failures, that would be a week-long workshop. However, instead today, we're gonna cover things that really work. And I'm telling you, I have a three-pronged approach that is gonna help you, and this is effective and efficient, and let's just jump right in. First and foremost, number one, we want to make a great first impression. I like to call it Webpression. Number two, we want to attack those search engines. We want to dominate search. We're on the same team today. I want you attacking your competition, getting those search words. Number 3, we're going to get on the offensive. So let's just jump right in. So number 1, how do you make that great first webpression? Now look at the expressions on these young people. Isn't that absolutely priceless? That's the same expression that we want when that ideal, that dream client has a problem to solve, a product they want to buy, or a service that you provide, and they discover your website for the first time and they are just exhilarated and thrilled to find you and your website. Now I'm trying to have my family members have the same expression when I walk in my house. It hasn't quite worked yet, but I haven't given up hope. The first step that we want to do to help you make that great first webpression, we go through the persona exercise. That's what myself and my team, what we do with our clients, we're going to take you through a persona exercise. What is a persona exercise? We want to really dig deep and identify who is that core customer, that dream client. I like to call them soulmates. Who is your soulmate out there, and what's imperative, what is critical, what is so important on your website that we want to have date traits that attract your soulmates on your website, okay? So let's say this together. Your website needs to show that you and your business are so darn lovable that your soulmates, AKA those dream clients, just simply cannot live without you. That's the point of your website. Why? Think about the first thing that you do when you need to research anything. Life has changed so much in the past 4 months. Maybe you're looking for a car, a mortgage, a pair of socks, whatever it is that you're doing research on. The first thing that you do is you go to a company's website. That's what your ideal client is doing the same. Your website is your 24-hour sales representative. If you have a poor website, folks, the odds are your customer is gone. We need to focus on your core strengths, what you are absolutely best at. Now, what we want to do, we want to prevent that confused customer. A confused customer is a lost customer. A lost customer is now your competitor's customer. Don't you love when you walk into a major brick and mortar store and you need to find one little trinket and they tell you it's in aisle 5,922? That's what we want to avoid. We want very clear, concise call to actions on your website. We do e-commerce evaluations for our audits, if you will, for our clients. I just did one bright and early this morning, and there's a lot of challenges on a lot of companies' websites, and there's possibilities, opportunities. So instead of being half empty, we want to be half full and focus on what you do best. Most importantly, what do you want that client to do when they land on your website? Okay, so here's a couple important tips. Now, if I share these, I would love for you to jot down notes, not because I think that I'm smart or have good tips. I've just, a lot of people have shared a lot of incredible tips with me. I just want to pass them on to you. So here's a great tip. When we do our e-commerce audits, we're basically looking at that website from a critical eye and from we want to look at from a viewpoint as that client's soulmate. What I encourage you to do, have other people look at your website. I don't care if it's a family member, a friend, your dog. Have somebody look at your website with a critical eye. Does it make sense for your soulmate? Second, I strongly encourage you, I invite you, I welcome you, I plead with you. Look at your website on different platforms. Now, who knows where anybody's working? Who knows where your soulmate is at right now? Are they in the office on a PC? Are they at home on a laptop? Most importantly, does your website convert to a mobile device like a tablet or the smartphone? So many clients, so many companies ignore that, and their websites just look really, to say it bluntly, not very good on mobile. So make sure that you're not that person. Okay, so we're going to jump into this success story, this e-commerce success story that I want to share with you. And we are so honored, so excited, so proud. The name of the company here is called Falconer Electronics. Falconer Electronics was founded in 1985 by this incredible, wonderful entrepreneur. His name is Roger Hall. He founded the company in 1985. Roger Hall still owns a company today, 35 years later. Isn't that just astounding? Just last week, last Wednesday, Falconer Electronics was awarded from Buffalo Business First the Innovative Manufacturer of the Year award. We were just thrilled. So I just wanted to share that with you. So now we're going to talk about Falconer Electronics. But again, it's all about you. On Falconer Electronics, they are a custom manufacturer. They are a wire harness manufacturer. And when you think of what is a wire harness, just think of like a whole glob of wires that go in your car or your refrigerator or whatever. They manufacture wire harness assemblies. So our soulmate, we went through a persona exercise with the help of the Small Business Development Center. We went through a persona exercise, and this is what we felt. And again, folks, we're in the section of how do you make that great first Webpression. Think of our soulmate as that engineer at like a major industrial company, a manufacturer. They land on our website, option number 1. Here's a green, clear, concise call to action button. Click here to get started. This is a little software tool that I'm going to talk to you about in a minute. Number 2, the option number 2 is simply submit a drawing. We're not asking for anybody's social security number, your firstborn, any of that. We just submit a drawing. Let's get the party started. And we want to engage and help our clients as quickly and fast as possible. Next, Falconer Electronics is also a power strip manufacturer. Just think like your basic outlet strip, but we don't make those cheap, inexpensive ones, maybe for $3.99, $4.99 that you find on the shelf at a brick and mortar store. These are heavy duty industrial power strips. So look at this page from a call to action standpoint. Again, think of yourself as a buyer or an engineer at a major industrial company. Look at the words we have here. Made in USA using US fabricated steel, buy direct, certified to rigorous UL standards, lifetime product warranty. Our power strips can be found powering product displays such as Walmart, Lowe's, and many more. Call to action button right here. So for example, if you walk into any Walmart in all of North America, you go into the television department, those televisions are plugged into a heavy duty power strip manufactured at little old Falconer Electronics. This particular power strip, this picture here, will be found at Lowe's hardware chain during holiday season. They plug in their artificial Christmas tree displays into these power strips. So these aren't for resale, these are fixtures. What was happening, consumers were walking on the floor at Lowe's, they were picking up that power strip, flipping it over, and they was reading the bottom, seeing Falconer Electronics. They started calling us and they started saying, hey, we want to buy your power strips. We're like, hey, bingo, light bulb went off. That's an e-commerce opportunity. So what we did is we created an e-commerce line of power strips. These products were our design. It was our UL listing. Everything about it was ours. So we just created a product line. We just want to make it as easy as possible for the customer to buy from us utilizing e-commerce. So again, it's all about you. It's not about these power strips. I just want you thinking, how can we apply these strategies, these tactics to you and your business? So again, if you're just starting out, let's go through that process. Okay, Falconer Electronics, their site is on a WordPress site. Odds are many of you are also on WordPress. Why? Because 37% of the web is built on WordPress. It's great, it's easy, it's ubiquitous, it is free. Next, great thing about WordPress, they have all sorts of plugins. These are just little software tools that you can apply to your website to help solve customers' problems, such as e-commerce. The e-commerce plugin for WordPress is called WooCommerce, okay? Now, the next thing that you need to have when you get into e-commerce, you need to have an SSL certificate. What does SSL stand for? Secure Sockets Layer. What does that mean? I have no idea. I'm still trying to figure out how the internet works. How are we actually even live? Or you can, this is great, isn't this technology? However, on your website, you have to have an SSL certificate. That's that little lock in the HTTPS in that green. It lets your customer, lets the client, lets that soulmate know that they are on a safe website. You might say, hey, well, wait a minute, I'm not on e-commerce yet, or maybe I'm just a blog or what have you. However, this is why it's so important, because 2 years ago in 2018, Google said if your website is non-HTTPS, did I say that right? HTTPS, yeah, easy for me to say. It has that little thing that says not secure, and we do not want to have websites that say not secure. So here's just a recommendation. We strongly encourage our clients to use a company called Settigo. You get the little lock, and why do we use Settigo? We just love saying the name. Let's say it together. Settigo. So that's a great company, inexpensive SSL certificates for you to get started. Of course, when you provide a product, when you provide a service, when you provide a solution to your customer, don't we love to get paid? If you want to get paid on e-commerce, strongly encourage you, check out PayPal, check out Stripe. You can check with your local bank, but you have to have a credit card processor. So I just wanted to cover some basics. If you're past that, I apologize, because now we're gonna go deep. This section here, I call it, how do you scale your proprietary process? And again, I'm talking about a manufacturer here. This could be if you're a restaurant trying to get into catering, if you're an event planner, if you're in insurance. This is applicable for many different industries. Let's go through this process. One more time. Hey, did I tell you guys Falconer Electronics won an award last week? We are so happy. So anyway, we're back to Falconer Electronics, and we're talking about a product called ground straps. And I just heard you say to yourself, what on the earth, what on the planet is a ground strap? Well, I'm so glad you asked. A ground strap is a product that goes in any electrical device that needs to be grounded. Why? Because otherwise you'll look like this guy. Not a pretty picture, okay? So ground straps, again, ubiquitous. It is a multi-billion dollar industry, okay? Think planes, trains, automobiles, appliances in your kitchen, the computers that we've been staring at for the past 4 or 5 months. Everything that draws a current needs to have a ground strap or a ground wire. Well, Falconer Electronics produces thousands upon thousands of ground straps. However, they were just making them for 1 or 2 different clients in the auto industry, truck lighting industry to be exact. They had the equipment, the machinery, they had the skill set, the staff, the raw material. They had everything in place to scale this product. However, what was the problem? They were the best kept secret. Hey, did I tell you guys I wrote a book? So anyway, just kidding. Okay. So what we did, they manufacture thousands upon thousands of these ground straps, and finally we asked a question: is there somebody else on this planet that needs these ground straps? It is a massive market. There has to be other companies. Of course there are. Every industry that has anything with electrical or machinery needs a ground strap. So what we decided to do, same concept with the power strips, we created this web page. And I'll call this even a fictitious product line. We never put a single product in stock. All we did, our biggest investment, our risk, was creating this web page using that same process I just walked through with WordPress and WooCommerce. And we created like maybe 30 or 40 different configurations, different sizes. Like, hey, let's just kick the tires and see who else would buy our ground straps. And sure enough, we've received an order. We've started receiving plenty of orders. If you're in e-commerce, you know that it's so exciting when your email dings and you receive that order. You're making money 24/7. This particular case, it says new order. Now I apologize, this is a horrible screenshot. I did it at 4:47 a.m. in the morning, not sure what I was thinking. But if you look all the way down here at the very bottom, if you guys can see my screen, this order came from Boeing. So how cool, how exciting for us. Little old Falconer Electronics receives an order from one of the biggest companies on the planet, from Boeing. So we started receiving a lot more orders. Now, folks, I've been in e-commerce, I think it's nearly 75 years now. And I can tell you, there is no greater means that is more effective and more efficient to kick the tires, test a new product, a new service, a new idea than e-commerce. We can business plan ourselves all we want to. We can whiteboard it. Getting e-commerce is an extremely inexpensive way to find out what the market wants, and the market will tell you if you're heading in the right direction. Now, let's take that one step further. So our soulmates, an engineer or a buyer at these major manufacturers, started coming to our website. However, they started saying, you know what, we love what you have, we like the price, but we want a different configuration. We love a different length, maybe a different width. Well, it just wasn't realistic for us to think of every single variable, every single option, and try to create a web page. So what we did is we sat down with our web designer, who is just amazing. He is awesome. I've been working with him since 2005, and we created the quote builder. What's the quote builder? Let's take a look. Now, we're still in the section of how do you make that great first webpression. We sat down with the web designer and said, hey, is it possible? Could we create a really inexpensive software tool that would allow our customers to create their own product, no different than like a t-shirt? I want this color, this size, this whatever. Could we create a variable software tool that would allow our clients to create their own ground strap? Now, I know for a fact, when you woke up this morning, you said to yourself, where on earth can I find a custom ground strap? Where, folks, here it is. Now, in all seriousness, let's just do a little role play. Let's pretend that you are our soulmate. Let's pretend that you are that buyer. You are an engineer. You're developing a prototype at Boeing, at Ford, at some major manufacturer, an OEM, whoever. And you have 30 things on your list that you need to buy or tackle today. And one of them is a ground strap. And you discover our page. Let's look at what this page says. Build your own custom ground strap. No RFQ wait time takes 60 seconds or less. Are you kidding me? Any one of us that have ever had to wait for a quote on anything knows that it can take hours, maybe even days, possibly weeks. This thing takes 60 seconds or less. Let's keep going. By manufacturer direct, no middleman. Made in USA since 1985. Again, big deal with all the supply chain disruptions. Call to action button right here. Get a quote fast. Any confusion, we have a video right here. Our soulmate can get in and out lickety split. Now, here's the last step of this software tool, and I'm telling you, this thing is so easy, even I can do it. On this last step, on this last page, the customer has to hit either yes or they click no. If there's any confusion on hitting yes or hitting no, all they do is they click this video. Now you come up over here, we have the technical drawing of the product, and over here is basically like the menu or recipe of what they just made. Now again, what's important, think about how would this be applicable for your business if you were a caterer, an event planner, a restaurant, if you're a pizza shop, this could be, hey, I want a pizza, I want cheese. This box could be pepperoni, I want anchovies. If you're an insurance, this box could be, how many children do you have? I have 2.5 kids, I have a dog, I have a picket fence. So this thing is applicable. Again, how can we make it as easy as possible for our clients? On this step here, what we did is the customer receives an email instantly. And in that email, they have this technical drawing, once again, of that product, the recipe or menu, just to confirm that we're all on the same page. Here's the price. Now, what was happening prior, when we first launched this thing, the customer would do it, it'd be awesome. However, they would have to call us or email us and say, hey, I went through your quote builder, very cool, great, thank you, but I need to place an order. What do I do now? We went back to the web designer and said, hey, could you just put this little button here and just send them back into the shopping cart? And that's exactly what they do. So now the customer can pull out their credit card. They just created this own product that doesn't exist anywhere on the planet. Pull out their credit card and they buy, they're done. They can move on to the next 29 things that they need to buy for the day. We've had clients like Virgin Hyperloop, Boeing, Johnson & Johnson, Amazon Robotics. We've had amazing, amazing clients, our soulmates, using our quote builder. And again, folks, it's not about me. It's not about this whole Falconer Electronics. It's all about you and how can we apply these strategies. Now, again, if you're taking notes today, here's a little tip that I share with you. To help create that competitive edge, we want you just really knocking the socks off your competition. How can you help that client make a buying decision on a Friday night at midnight without having to wait for you to open up your doors on Monday? What it is, it's pulling that customer service aspect off of your salespeople, if you're a bigger company with salespeople, and let your website be your customer service, your sales function for you. And folks, that's how you generate revenue. That's how you generate profits with e-commerce. Now, I'm going to take a pause right there real quick. Again, I want to be respectful of everybody's time. So we're at 9:28. So if there's any questions on this section, is how do you make that great first Webpression? Now, the next section we're going to go into, if you have any questions on search or search strategies, we're going to hit that hard and heavy right now. I'm going to stick around at the end for any questions. Love to hear your questions. Here's my email. And once again, I want to give a shout out to the SBDC. Please contact your SBDC. So Renee, if you're available, are there any questions that we want to hit right now?
We don't have any questions. We had some hellos coming your way though.
Oh, awesome. I love hellos. Anybody
Yes.
in particular?
Damon.
Damon, hey, Damon's coming live from Seattle. How great is that? He is up early. So welcome. Good morning to you, Damon. Thanks for joining us today. So, okay, so folks, we're going to continue on. Again, I want to be respectful of everybody's time. And please, if you have any questions whatsoever, please throw them in the chat box. I'm going to stick around afterwards, and please feel free to email me. I would love to hear what you have going on. So next, we want to fight to dominate search. Now, I say that because I just want to get this guy in the program. Isn't he wonderful? So, okay, this section here, if you're already doing Google Ads, I'm going to apologize. I'm just going to hit this for any of you that are not familiar with Google Ads. Okay, Google Ads is a pay-per-click model. Okay, so in this particular day, when I Google ground straps, right here you see this little word AD. Okay, what that means is that's how Google makes their bazillions of dollars. And this is an ad. Now, it doesn't cost me a penny to be in that position, But every time somebody clicks on this ad, that's when the cash register rings. Now let's take a look what I have going on in this ad. We have ground straps, free shipping, made in USA, ground strap buyer's guide. Now I'm going to hit that hard in a minute. If you need to get into the game yesterday, this is a great place to go educate yourself on Google Ads, talk to your web marketer, talk to the SBDC. How can you get into the game immediately with Google Ads? Next is Google Shopping. What is Google Shopping? Google Shopping, if you start noticing, Google now has all sorts of products, images on their search. Back in the day, there was Google was all plain text. They never had any images. What's going on right now? Google's facing fierce competition from all sorts of social media sites, Instagram, Pinterest, and of course the online marketplaces, which we're going to talk about in a little bit, such as Amazon. So now Google feels compelled to post pictures and products. If you're looking to get in the game immediately, we are using Google Shopping. Our conversion rates are much, much higher because people can see the product. These can get very expensive. So again, this is a pay-per-click model. It doesn't cost a penny to be here. It's just a cash register rings every time somebody clicks on those ads. Next, I had a great conversation with Lynn. Again, if you didn't catch it, Lynn is the amazing, wonderful director of SBDC here in Niagara Falls. And we were talking about Google. What used to be called Google Local is now Google My Business. Now, if you are more local based, maybe you're in agriculture, restaurant, whatever, you're targeting more of a local area, Google My Business is absolutely critical. Now, today, if you're like, well, no, I'm on a national level. If you're on a national level, Google My Business is just as equally critical. I'm now strongly promoting, encouraging, welcoming, inviting everybody to jump on Google My Business. Why? If you recall, there was Google tried tipping their toe into social media with Google Plus. Okay, Google Plus unfortunately didn't make it, didn't cut it against all the other social media sites. What Google has done now, they've put a ton of time and energy, kind of almost quietly, on Google My Business. It's almost a little mini website opportunity for you. It's going to have your address, a map. Again, if you're targeting local, you can have your website. You can put in blog posts, pictures. You can put keywords on your pictures, videos. This has basically become a little mini website. Great tip here. Again, another takeaway for today. Please take a look, spend time on Google Local for your business. Next, we want to talk about SEO. How can we get those free organic rankings? Is it even realistic? Is it possible to get those free first page rankings on Google? Let's take a look. What's one of the best ways to capture rankings on Google with search engine optimization? Blogging. Now, I know exactly what you're thinking, man. Who has time to blog? I have nothing to write about. Who's even going to read it, right? It's going to be crickets. That was just a great excuse to get this guy in the program. So once again, I'm going to come back to Falconer Electronics. I'm sorry to keep doing that. So did I tell you that they won an award last week by any chance? Okay, so, but really, folks, it's all about you. But I am coming back to Falconer Electronics. This section right here, if you're checking any social media right now, texting, I'm going to invite you to come back because this is gold. This whole section is the gold section. Encourage you to write these things down. So, Falconer Electronics is a wire harness manufacturer. We went through this great program, the social media strategy session with a team at the Small Business Development Center, and they are absolutely priceless. We did our persona, and once again, as I discussed, our soulmate is like that engineer or that product buyer at such as Boeing. So we decided, okay, how can we come up with consistent content that our soulmate would want to read? And what we did is we came up with Wire Harness Wednesdays. Now, again, for your business, maybe it's Tuesday tips or Manic Mondays, Freaky Fridays, whatever, Fun Fridays, whatever. Think about something that you could do consistently. We did Wire Harness Wednesdays every single Wednesday when we had a social media intern from our local campus, again, through the Small Business Development Center, and that intern was absolutely priceless. After several months, we came up with a boatload of content. We basically had like an archive and library of blog posts about wire harness manufacturing. Now, I discovered this incredible tip. I'm going to give a shout out. If you enjoy podcasts, particularly podcasts for entrepreneurs. This is a gentleman that is right here in our backyard. He's a friend of mine. His name is Dennis Brown, and he has a podcast out of Buffalo called Growth Experts Podcast. Dennis is a dear friend to the SBDC. He's done workshops for us in the past. He is a massive entrepreneurial success rock star. I listen to his podcast religiously. I get great tips. Here's a tip I got on this particular day. He had a gentleman on his podcast from Shopify, e-commerce shopping cart company, massive shopping cart company, and he offered this tip. Take all of your blog posts, basically I'm going to just summarize, smush them together, create a guide, and that's exactly what we did. And again, I just want you to think about your business and how we're approaching your soulmates. Let's take a look at this page. So Falconer Electronics is a wire harness manufacturer. On this guide, we're attacking the keyword wire harness manufacturing. A wire harness assembly guide. Let's read below. A wire harness manufacturing terms, tools, and tips of the trade. Wire harness manufacturing is our foundation, man. It's in our blood, dating all the way back to 1985. The team at Falconer Electronics takes tremendous pride in manufacturing amazing products for our customers. Blah, 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 blah. Actually, we are wire harness geeks, so we call it our crusade. Here's a little call to action button. Does this work? Absolutely. Let's take a look right here, folks. You see this box on any Google search. This is called the Google Snippet. If you see down here below, you see the word snippet. Anytime you see a lined paragraph like this with an image in a line, that is called the Google Snippet. This is every search engine marketer's dream come true to earn this top position. How important is this? To look down here below, see the Wiring Harness Manufacturers Association. This is our guide. Google deemed us as the top authority, and I'm telling you, this is an incredibly competitive category, and we're actually even above the association of our own industry. We're complementing this free, now somebody can click on this 1,000 times, doesn't cost us a penny. We're complementing that with a paid ad. Why? Because we want to dominate search, okay? Now, okay, did we just get lucky, or does this strategy that I learned on Growth Experts from Dennis Brown, does that really work? We took the exact same strategy for ground straps. Now, ground straps, again, multi-billion dollar industry. One of our keywords, electrical ground straps, 27 million pages of electrical ground straps, yet Google granted us, awarded us, this is a massive benefit, earning that Google Snippet position here. And again, you see right here, Google Snippet, all these images are ours, and this box is our possession. And somebody can click on this again 1,000 times, doesn't cost Falconer Electronics a penny. Now, you are never guaranteed to maintain this. I am in full gratitude every day when we have these rankings, because you never know what's going to happen tomorrow. Now, lastly, we took the same strategy. We are a commercial power strip manufacturer, one of the only power strip manufacturers in the United States. So again, if you're our soulmate and you're at a government agency, Department of Defense, or maybe a manufacturer that just really wants made in USA, and you were to Google this, out of 47 million pages, we have the #1 and the #2 position. So again, this strategy just really works well. Better than well. What's better than well? It works great. How's that? So what's Google looking for on these strategies? They're looking for good eats. What does EAT stand for? They're looking for expertise, authority, and trust. Google's trying to provide a great experience for their customers, just like we're all trying to provide a great experience for our customers. Now, again, if you were drifting or checking out something else totally cool, maybe grabbing breakfast, I invite you to focus on this page right here, right now. If there's any one takeaway today for your content strategy, and Damon on the call, Damon does this relentlessly with his firm, Exit Your Way. He's out in Seattle. He does an amazing, incredible job. And what they do is this word right here, consistency. Everything on this slide is critical: integrity, commitment, sincerity, reliability. My panel is in a, yeah, that's good. Trust. All these are incredibly important. The #1 thing for you, consistency. If you're going to do a podcast, do it consistently. If you're doing how-to videos to help your clients, do it consistently. If you're posting on social, whatever you're doing, and again, Damon and his group at Exit Your Way, they have a weekly roundtable meeting every single Thursday at 11 o'clock. I'm on it religiously because they deliver consistency. that helps build that trust. This page here alone could be a workshop in itself, so I'm going to cover this quickly. This is another money page for you folks. If you are creating that consistent content, use these platforms to get your message out there. Now, I don't deem myself as a social media expert. However, I've had some great success in different aspects here, particularly YouTube. I had an e-commerce business, I think it was like 95, 99 years ago. And we started doing YouTube videos right when YouTube came out. And boy, those YouTube videos, we were doing how-to YouTube videos. They were starting to capture dozens, hundreds, thousands, hundreds of thousands of views. And it costs us virtually nothing to shoot those videos. If you are creating blog posts, if you are doing content, this might be a little bit of a higher level tip. I'm strongly encouraging, again, this is another money tip for you right here, right now, to help you capture those first page or those #1 rankings. If you are a blogger and you want to try to capture those rankings, post your blogs, and you can do duplicate content. It can be the exact same blog post. Post it on Reddit with a link back to your website. Next, I strongly encourage you, invite you, welcome you to do the exact same thing on Medium. I love Medium. Great place, take your blog posts, post it on Medium with links coming back to your website. Lastly, I'm a LinkedIn junkie. Damon on a call, he's a LinkedIn junkie. We're all over the place. That is, as a matter of fact, how Damon and I connected and we do business together. He found a blog post that I shared on LinkedIn. So it's great to have him on the call. There's proof, social proof of how this strategy works. Lastly, think about your avatar. Who is your soulmate? For example, I have a teenage daughter, and if you were spending a lot of time trying to target her on Facebook, you're never going to find her because Facebook is for old people like me. Now, I'm not even, and I'm an old guy, I'm not even on Facebook. So again, think about where's your audience hanging out and get that content out there. So, okay, I'm going to end my diatribe on that. Folks, that whole section, man, I'm telling you, is money. Now, if you're having a fun time, I'm having a blast. We're doing this again at 1 o'clock. Please come back and join us. So if this little strategy for a custom manufacturer, Falconer Electronics, we've seen a 1,500% traffic increase by taking on these strategies that the SBDC helped us. Now, again, we're going to wrap up this section right here. It's all about you. If there's any questions about this section right here, or if we want to keep going, that's fine. I'm going to stick around for any questions afterwards. Feel free to email me. And again, I'm going to give a shout out to the SBDC. So Renee, we have one section left. We're going to fly through it. Do you have any questions at this point?
We did get some really good questions and a quick hello from Joe, the finance guy.
Oh, hey, Joe. And Joe, I connected with Joe through the Exit Your Way team. And Joe is amazing. He's an amazing entrepreneur. So thank you.
All right, first one. How do you handle the new sales tax requirements, states for which you have to collect sales tax even though you have no physical presence in the state?
Okay, fantastic question. I'm not a tax expert, and there's a lot of different laws going on right now, and the challenge is that they are all state mandated. Okay, right now we're what we are adhering to, and I'm going to jump into the marketplaces next. The next thing with marketplaces, when you're on a marketplace, they will handle that sales tax for you. When you're doing it yourself, we are collecting sales tax in New York State alone. We are not collecting sales tax because we don't have, what's the word I want? We don't have a physical presence, or we're not deemed, there's a word that I'm missing, but we're not deemed a legal entity or have any aspect in those other states. So right now we are purely collecting tax strictly in New York State. There is a tax service, is it Alvera? I think it's Alvera. So there's a software tool, I'm almost positive it's called Alvera, and it's an incredible tool that will calculate all the sales tax for you on all the different states. So I would Google, I'm positive, I think it's called Alvera. So that's and again, I'm not a tax expert. The other question that maybe reach out to your CPA or your accountant and ask them as well. Or also, if you are in e-commerce, whatever shopping cart platform you're using, they have a ton of information like Shopify or BigCommerce, WooCommerce, any of the shopping carts that you're particularly using, they'll have all sorts of sales tax information for you.
Awesome. And
Okay.
Damon said TaxJar is another sales tax
TaxJar,
handling
thank
company.
you, Damon. Yep,
Yep.
perfect. Yep, TaxJar is another one, good one.
All right, this is a multi-part one. For
Uh,
WordPress websites, what plugin do you recommend to monitor for hacking and providing domain security? Are there templates you recommend for e-commerce stores? And do you have an opinion on whether WordPress or Shopify are better for e-commerce stores?
wow, boy,
Yeah,
that's
that
a
was a good one.
hammered. You know what? To be respectful of everybody's time, I'm going to flip through that quick. Whoever that person is, I can get you more details if they want to email me. Let me whip through this. WooCommerce compared to Shopify. You know what? I'm going to say this. I like both. I've tried multiple different shopping carts. Back when I had my e-commerce business, we were decent size, and we kind of at that time we had the Lexus. It's called NetSuite. It's a product of Oracle, and it's very robust. Again, it's high level. Right now, I'm strongly encouraging, so many companies are already on WordPress. I'm encouraging them, just a slide. It's a very simple slide just to go into WooCommerce. Shopify, BigCommerce, I like 3D Cart. Those are great shopping cart options. They run like, is that my computer? Uh-oh. Can you hear me, Renee?
I can. You're on the Amazon slide right now.
Okay. Something happened. My computer kind of freaked out. Okay. So let me pop this back up. So, all those shopping carts start at like $19.99. So if you're starting from scratch, if you want something very robust, it's you don't want to worry about hosting, you don't want to worry about credit card processing. Shopify and some of these other carts these shopping carts are great to go with because it's a one-stop shop. They take on everything. When you go with WooCommerce, you have to bring in a bunch of different plugins. And you need to be, it's a little bit more challenging. So I don't know if that answered. I'm going to have to get back to that person with a great plugin to advise for security. There was one more question in there, wasn't there?
Let's see what plugin you recommend to monitor for hacking and providing domain security. Did you get that one?
Yep. So
And
what
then,
I'm gonna do is if that I would love to get that person's email and I can email them some information about that.
yeah, absolutely. I'll send that. I'll send Kathy your email. Damon had a quick comment. WooCommerce is good if WordPress website, Shopify and BigCommerce handle the website and e-commerce store, which
Yep.
is great. This is a quick one. If is HTTPS typically part of a web platform, or is always something you have to get separately, and will automatically apply to your URL? And if you
Yep.
do have to get it separately, what was the recommended URL to get it?
Yep, excellent question. So the HTTPS just simply means, so if you go to GoDaddy or any of the websites or any of the domain websites and buy a domain name and you just simply set up a blog and you don't have an SSL certificate, it's just going to say HTTPS or HTTP. You have to go in, you can, so say if you go to GoDaddy and you want an SSL, you can get your SSL certificate right on GoDaddy, or pretty much any of the domain resellers will also sell you the SSL certificate. That's an actual purchase and it's code that goes into your website to show that you are a safe and secure site. So it's a separate purchase. I think there are some freebies out there that you can find. They're not very robust. I don't know if I personally don't recommend going with free SSLs. You can find one as cheap as like, I know we resell one for $49. So it's not expensive, $4 a month. And I recommend, the company I recommended is Settigo. So hopefully that helps. So.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, we're at 10 up. So what I'd like to do, folks, and again, I'm going to stick around. We're going to fly through this section right here, and then we're going to call it a day, get you on with your day here. So this section here, I call it, let's get on the offensive, okay? So now I want to come back to my section on I want to dominate search. So again, you guys are Groundstrap experts by now. And so on this particular day, when I do a search for Groundstraps, organically, you see Amazon is #1. Big bullies. You see Amazon is #2, these big meanies, and down here #3, or on the third position organically is our dear old friend Falconer Electronics, and that is once again our official Groundstrap resource guide. Now, to come up organically on this keyword, we should be just thrilled. We should be ecstatic. This is a multi-billion-dollar industry. We're competing with the likes of like AutoZone, O'Reilly Auto Parts, every single major brick and mortar auto part retailer, major industrial companies like MSC Industrial, McMaster-Carr, and of course, Amazon. However, I'm not satisfied to being at third position. I want to be number one because we want to dominate search. How does little old tiny Falconer Electronics take on big bully Amazon? Well, I learned a long time ago, if you can't beat them, let's join them. And that's exactly what we did. So we put our little ground straps on Amazon, and you see up here, we have the coveted Amazon's Choice. Down here in the right corner, we have the bestseller button. We just put these on about a year ago, man, and they took right off. And the great thing is, I mean, we're selling these for like, it's a $15 SKU. I don't know if we'll hit it, but earlier I don't know if we'll hit that number through COVID, but we were doing tens of thousands of dollars annual sales and possibly hitting six figures on one little SKU that's $15. So this has been a great win for Falconer Electronics. There's all sorts of other marketplaces to put your product line on. So for example, there's a company called DigiKey. So again, on our quest to dominate search, we put our ground straps on DigiKey. We put them on Walmart.com. We put them on a major industrial supplier called ZORO, which is a division of Grainger. We've put our power strips on Amazon. And again, we're one of the only power strip manufacturers in the United States. So folks, being on the marketplaces, if you're trying to tip your toe into e-commerce for the first time, you have a finished good, you have a product, you're a distributor, the marketplaces are a fantastic option. Why? They're one of my favorite words. They are free for the most part. I think Amazon charges like maybe 39 bucks a month. However, they do take a strong commission, yet they bring in an instant audience to you. They help you with all sorts of aspects to make your business successful and viable. Now, one other company that I want to extend to you to put on your radar is Alibaba. Now, Alibaba is a global giant. But however, they are new to sellers in the United States. In the past, maybe you're familiar with Alibaba, where you could buy from Chinese manufacturers. They have now, in the past, as a matter of fact, it was a year ago last week, they opened up their doors to all suppliers, manufacturers, distributors of products here in the United States. I have a great relationship with the team at Alibaba. If you think that's a route that you want to go, shoot me an email. I would love to connect you with the folks at Alibaba. They have 10 million active buyers. 300,000 inquiries daily. Now, again, if you're just starting out, maybe you're doing, I don't know, mass, or you're making something at home. There are, of course, different options. You can do Etsy, eBay, Craigslist. You can do Facebook, and there's a new one to me. It's called OfferUp. Now, the great thing about the marketplaces, as we talked about, our goal today is how do we make that great first Webpression? How do we dominate search, and how do we get on the offensive? Now, going through this whole process, folks, this was one of my favorites as a kid growing up. You don't have to feel like you're going over Niagara Falls. There's all sorts of resources to help you with your business, with your e-commerce journey. Now, I've been asked a few times, what's my opinion on the freelancers? I am very bullish. I use some of the freelance websites all the time on things that I'm stuck on and I just need to get a job done. They are phenomenal. There's freelancer.com, there's Upwork, Guru.com, Fiverr.com. So again, if you're stuck on something, you need some graphic design or just a little project or something technical that you just need help with, I'm telling you, there's an expert for just about anything on all these resources. Now, Damon's still on the call. He's going to love this one. This is a shout out to this gentleman is actually working for Exit Your Way. Great company. They help companies with exit strategies out of Seattle. This gentleman here has become a dear friend, and his name's Ira Bowman. He's posting all sorts of information on LinkedIn. If you are active on LinkedIn, I strongly encourage you to follow what they have going on at Exit Your Way and follow Ira. He's just a LinkedIn rock star. He does a bunch of LinkedIn workshops and what have you. So he's a great person to follow. Another person, I want to give a shout out to a book. If you are just starting out, maybe life just changed or just took a drastic disruption during COVID and you found yourself going in this direction and you're a solopreneur, I strongly encourage you to buy this book or check out this person. Her name is Elaine Potfeld, and she wrote the book called The $1 Million One-Person Business. She's a huge advocate of the SBDC, and in her book, she gives a case study, an example of multiple entrepreneurs that started from scratch and turned a solo business into $1 million revenue business as one employee. Great, again, great SBDC advocate. Her book is phenomenal. I actually met her through Dennis Brown's podcast out of Buffalo. She's a rock star. Check out her book. Last thing I want to leave you with, I have a great story that I want to share with you. Take me 30 seconds. So if you're looking to take a pivot, here's a great e-commerce story. I love this story. This is a company, this is a business down in Dallas. It is a beloved coffee shop, just raving fans. It's called Wild Detectives. When COVID hit, just like everybody else, they had to shut down. When they shut down, they came out with an Instagram post, and this is what it said. We know during these trying times, discovering new places is one of those activities we miss most among many other things. Since we can't offer you our regular doses of books, drinks, and programming, we've decided to serve you with another activity that we all wish to do nowadays, traveling. Check out our new travel website, Escape to a Remote Destination. Now, folks, they post, this is a staple, just a legendary landmark. People love going here. They posted this on Instagram. People were insane. They were angry. They were like, you're changing to a travel agency? We can't go anywhere. Why would you change your whole business model? What are you thinking? And right here, it says, book your next trip here. What they did, I thought was absolutely brilliant. They called it Book a Trip. They took a web page and it was a map of the world. And today, if you wanted to go to Greece, you click the button and you could buy all sorts of books about Greece. If you want to go to Rome tomorrow, you click a button and there were all sorts of books about Rome. Their sales increased while they were shut down during COVID. So folks, if you've been hit with disruption and you're looking for changes, there's all sorts of inspiring stories excuse me, out there. And for example, this is a great one. So one last shameless plug. If you enjoyed this program, I would be honored to give you a free copy of my book, Stop Being the Best Kept Secret. I have an ebook version that I'd love to share with you. Shoot me an email and I will turn around and gift you a free book because it's all about you. Lastly, I want you to think about reaching out to your SBDC, and I'm going to thank you so much for your time. Please stay safe, stay healthy. I wish you guys massive, massive success on your e-commerce journey. I'm going to stick around if there's any questions. We're back here at 1. And again, I just want to thank you guys for your time.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Curt. Much appreciated. Lots of thank yous and some good questions if you're ready.
Absolutely. Bring them on.
All right. A lot of these recommendations feel like the product has to be tangible. Any suggestions for services, consulting services specifically?
Absolutely. So consulting services, can I ask what type of consulting services?
Absolutely. Mary Beth, can you let us know? Oh, project management.
Project management. So I'm going to give a shameless plug. If my friend Damon is still on the call, if you Google a company called Exit Your Way, here's a great example of pivoting in e-commerce, okay? Couple of things to think about as a project manager. Okay, project manager is very broad. What I'd love to do, so if we were working together or talking together, we would go, okay, let's take it another step further. I'm a project manager on what? Okay, I'm a project manager on lean or theory of constraints or accounting or whatever. We're going to take it one step further. Then I might even take it another couple steps further. What I'm going to encourage you to do is on every Thursday, there's a roundtable meeting with this group called Exit Your Way. And it's a group they'll have anywhere every week. It's 30, 40, 50 consultants from all over the country, even some folks around the world come and they meet and we have different topics and we're talking about different strategies for our businesses. So first, I'm going to encourage you, check out Exit Your Way and the weekly Thursday roundtable meeting, and anybody on the call is welcome to attend that meeting, number one. Number two, if I go back on slide, so if I go back here, you don't sell it, let's say you don't sell a tangible product. Here's a perfect example. So a custom manufacturer is very similar to consultants, okay? Like say we don't have that finished good. This page here, can you still see my screen, Renee?
Yes, I can.
Okay, on this page here in particular, so say you're a project manager of what? What I would strongly encourage you to do, I'm assuming if you're independent, that you sell yourself, your expertise, however many years that you've been doing this project managing. I would love to have maybe like a video of you right here talking about the problem you solve. The next thing, the call to action button would be, what do you want your soulmate to do? Do you want them to call you? Do you want them to email you? Do you want to give them a case study? What's been great for us at Falconer Electronics is I showed you all the information that we have. If you come back here, again, do a shameless plug for myself, I have a bunch of free e-commerce resource guides. So if you land on B2B tail, I'm just giving all sorts of information out because I want people to find success on e-commerce. So a couple things that I would recommend for you is that call to action button. Maybe your call to action button is if you book a schedule, you know, I'm assuming like say you're a project manager guru and you want to have like a project manager high level strategy session, book like Calendly is a great, you can book your, you can have your calendar right there and somebody can just book us. There's no going back and forth. Hey, what's your schedule? Are you free on Friday? How about next Tuesday? Get your calendar right out there and just get people, let's just get that party started and book that appointment with you immediately. Do you sell anything? Do you sell information? Do you sell services? Are you booking by the hour? So I think all of those are excellent. You know, and again, if this person wants to go a little bit deeper, please feel free to shoot me an email. But that's how I would attack it as a service provider. I don't know if did that help?
I'll let Mary Beth see if she has any follow-up. And she also had a recommendation on a book, Dory Clark, Entrepreneurial You. She really likes some of the ideas in that book, and she wanted to share that one. I would imagine too for Mary Beth, the Google My Business would be huge.
Absolutely. Yep.
Very cool. Can you talk a little bit more about how to do SEO? Is this a function of using certain words in the product description or to name image files, or is it more?
Yeah, great question. So let's jump. Is everybody getting dizzy? Okay,
We're hanging
keyword
in there.
strategy. Hang in there. All right, man. Now listen, folks, I bought this new headset. So Renee, if you see me hit my head and fall over, it's just because this headset's too heavy, and just call 911 for me. Could you just tell my wife
Absolutely.
that? Tell my wife
Absolutely.
I passed out. I'm on the floor. So, okay, there is a tool. I probably should have put it in the program. There's a tool for WordPress. It's called SEO Yoast. If you are using WordPress, I would strongly encourage you to do SEO Yoast. Another tool, and again, this keyword section here, this could be a workshop in itself. What I would encourage this person to use is Google Keyword Planner. What I've discovered with Google Keyword Planner, I was just with my team yesterday, we were just talking about it. So many clients that we've worked with over the years are adamant, this is what my keyword is. So what we start with, so when you do that persona exercise, one of the first questions is, what are you absolutely best at? Well, I'm best at this. I make a widget, I provide a service, whatever you do, that's what you're best at. Okay, well, typically your core strengths are your keywords. Well, a lot of times what you think is what a keyword might not necessarily be what your soulmate is typing. So here's, for example, I can't tell you how many clients I've had over the years where they're adamant that tissues are their keyword. It's tissues, tissues, tissues. Well, then all of a sudden you find out half the country uses the word Kleenex. Half the, you know, it's going to be soda, soda, soda. Well, you go in the Midwest and you find out, well, no, they call it pop. So there's a lot of different keywords for different terms. If you use Google Keyword Planner. Google Keyword Planner is a fantastic tool. It's completely free. Other than spending money on advertising, just about everything that I've offered here today is absolutely free. Unfortunately, I know everything takes time. So my tip for this specific question, if you're on WordPress, I would strongly encourage you to use SEO Yoast. That helps you utilize, are you maximizing your pages? Are you if you ever hear anybody say optimizing a page for that keyword, SEO Yoast will help you do that. Secondly, what are the keywords? And the great thing why I love e-commerce, Google instead of us sitting around guessing, what are people typing? What is traffic? Well, I'm certain people are looking at this. Google will tell you, and I can't tell you how many times I've been wrong, where Google Keyword Planner will tell you this keyword has, you know, 3,000 searches a month, where maybe the main keyword I thought was going to be better has 10 searches a month, but it will have a whole list of keyword searches. So for example, my friend on the call, Damon, if he's still around, Edge Your Way. So if you know, he has a high level relationship with his clients, he's not selling like I'm selling $3 ground straps. Well, if I'm selling $3 ground straps, I have to sell a ton of them to get anywhere. If you're selling something, or like Joe that was on the line today, he's a finance guy. So if you're going after a high level ticket, we want to go after those keywords. So even if Google Keyword Planner tells you, you know what, there's only 20 searches a month for my soulmate in this capacity, well, 20 searches could evolve into 1 or 2 clients, and that could be a great client for you. So SEO Yoast, Google Keyword Planner, and then think about what is your soulmate, what is their problem, okay? So now for myself in e-commerce, this whole workshop has been based around a bunch of guides that I've created, trying to take people through a step-by-step process of how to go into e-commerce. So my shell, my circle, if you can see me, is e-commerce. Then when I'm going out some, what type of shopping carts do they need? Do they need an SSL certificate? What type of search strategy should they have? What are their keywords? So all of those are circles that are going around my main core topic. And so I'm just hammering back to that consistency, because I have certain keywords that I want to come up, just like here at Falconer Electronics, we want to own wire harness manufacturing. So think about what keywords do you want to own. If it's too hard to capture SEO rankings, I think there was a question there about tagging pictures. If your tribe, your audience, your soulmates are hanging out on Instagram, I would be posting a ton of videos and pictures on Instagram. If you think they're on Pinterest, I'd be posting them there and then putting all your keywords on all those pictures. When you post a picture on your blog post, I'd be tagging every single picture with your keywords, trying to track those soulmates. So hopefully that was helpful.
Absolutely. Joe said, thanks for the shout out. This is a great shipping question from Brooke. Do you have a recommended policy on shipping? My items vary in size and weight, and I've only been in business for just over a year. I feel nervous about really killing my margins by calculating shipping poorly. And although I love free shipping as a consumer, I don't think I can swing that with how tight my margins are. Any best practices or rules of thumb? My website allows me to choose flat rate based on price or weight.
And the name of this person?
Brooke.
Brooke, thank you. Hey, Brooke, good morning. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule. And thank you, everybody who's asking questions. So Brooke, awesome question. Man, I love this question. And this is something, I'm going to be honest with you, I've struggled to see. I've been in e-commerce for, I think, 99 years now. So I've struggled with this question, and it's still a bearing question that we analyze every day. So we're just starting to use a tool called ShipStation, which I just started using it, fallen in love with it. So I prefer flat rate shipping. Now, I don't know what products you're selling. If you have big bulky sizes, boy, UPS rates have really gone up dramatically. I'm finding that USPS is much more affordable, and I don't have any allegiance to anybody, so I'm not trying to give a shout out to one over the other, but I'm finding that postal is much more effective and more efficient. So again, not knowing what product you're selling, they have the flat rate boxes. They, which if that's applicable for your product line, they have a lot of different options. I like to give the customer right up front, so there's no questions. They don't have to get back to me. What is the answer? What is that shipping going to be? And what I've throughout my whole e-commerce career, I've always gone with that flat rate shipping, and the goal is, can I get it as close as possible? And it's just a lot of testing. So on some orders, if you're here in the Niagara region and you're shipping to San Diego, obviously that's going to cost a little bit more than if you ship it over to Rochester. So if you're shipping nationally, you have those challenges. My goal was, if I could always at least break even from here to the Rockies. Maybe it gets a little dicey going over to the West Coast, but I analyze those numbers, depending on your volume. And I was a logistics guy, as Lynn gave me a shout out at Ohio State 100 years ago. So I analyze those numbers. We could probably go on and on. If you want to, feel free to email me. And but that's a fantastic question. I like flat rate, and just trying to get it as close as possible to give that information to the customer right on the spot. So hopefully that helped.
Absolutely. And I'll share your email with Brooke. Kathy had a follow up. What about international shipping?
You know what? That's a great question. long time ago, I did international shipping, and when I had my e-commerce business, we did a lot of shipping. Canada became a phenomenal customer for us, and we really had that nailed down for Canada. I never really hit it off. We would ship to say the military bases, the island, APOs, FPOs. Islands and what have you. I never really had much success going abroad. So I don't have a lot of experience there. Fantastic question. I'm trying to think of some tools. There's one that's escaping me right now, but I'm weak on that answer. So I'm gonna say I don't have a great answer. Let me research that, and I could email that person on a tool or a better guide for international. Let me jot that one down.
Great,
So
thank you.
I apologize. I don't have a great answer for that. That's an excellent question, but I strongly encourage you, if you're here in Niagara, if you're not shipping to Canada, I strongly encourage you to ship to Canada. That's a great, great customer right next door.
All right, thank you. One of our attendees, Irene, she jumped on the Google Keyword Planner website and it brought her the Google Ad Campaign. Do you know if you have to have a Google Ad
Yep.
Campaign account to use the Google Keyword Planner?
Yep. Great question, Irene. So, and again, thank you for joining us today. So just so everybody knows, on Google Keyword Planner does not cost a thing. However, you have to have a Google Ads account. You have to put in a credit card, but if you trust me on this, you will never be charged unless something's changed, because I use it all the time. There is absolutely no charge, but they do require skin in the game, meaning they just want to have a credit card that you are at least have the intention of trying Google advertising. Here's another tool for you, Irene, and for everybody out there. This is a freebie. It's called Uber Suggest. Uber Suggest is another free tool. And again, everybody needs to make money and they need to monetize. So this is by a gentleman, his name is Neil Patel. And I follow Neil, I receive his emails. He has, I don't know, 400 some thousand followers on LinkedIn. He's a search guru, dynamo, Neil Patel, and he's created this tool called Uber, just like the car service, Uber Suggest. And it works in a similar fashion as Google Keyword Planner. You can do some competitive intelligence. You can see different keywords. You can see traffic. So if you're comfortable, Irene, just put in your credit card and it will provide all that information. And trust me, it won't charge you a penny. You can cancel it immediately, or you could hang on to it. The other option is Uber Suggest.
Great, thank you. And Irene also asked a question if you had recommendations on how some of your tips could work for photography.
Wow, that's an awesome business. And can I ask what type of photography are you doing? Like local stuff, like weddings and children, schools, sports, like that type of thing?
Family, newborn, and wedding.
Family, newborn, wedding. And I'm gonna, my friend Elaine, I told you about that. She's scaling that book. It's called $1 Million One Person Business. And I'm not getting any kickback, so I have no incentive to encourage you to read her book. Her book is phenomenal. When I heard her podcast, I bought her book and read her book in a weekend, and it gives all sorts of examples of businesses that you would never think that would be scalable for her. So combination of things. What can you do for photography? Can you resell your photos? Could you do a subscription model? Could you do how to improve? Could you do photography tips, photography courses, photography classes? So many people are stuck at home right now, and whatever, maybe they go camping or whatever hobbies or interests, or maybe they're looking for new hobbies because they can't do old hobbies because of COVID. Maybe people are hungering for your expertise on how for better photography skills. My photography skills are less than pathetic. So would I be willing to pay, maybe if you put together a course, and that course could consist of, maybe you do like a couple 1 hour sessions. And a great thing, Irene, are we still with Irene or are we with Kathy? Who are we with now?
We are still with Irene.
Irene, okay. So thank you. So with Irene, so let me just think this out loud with you for a second, Irene. So let's say, for example, if you love instructing or teaching, since you can't be everywhere to take your pictures? Could you share your expertise, your God-given talents with others? Could you create a video series? Now, I was just with a consultant yesterday. She helps us do our persona exercise. She is amazing. She's a rock star. She's a college professor, and she helps our clients go through the persona exercise. She took that exercise and she just put it on Teachable. Teachable is an e-commerce website where now you can build courses, very affordable, very effective, and then you can put yourself out there to share your expertise with others. You could put that e-commerce opportunity on your website and you could sell that class. Another, for folks that are still with us, another couple of software tools, if you're the solopreneur or you're just selling like a couple of things, maybe like the project manager that was on, think of, there's a couple of things that you want to write down. One called ClickFunnels or Builderall. There's a huge trend right now where when you land on a website, I'm old school traditional e-commerce where it's a grid like Amazon. We have a bunch of different options, different choices. There's a big push for funnels. I think Joe, that's on the call today, I think we had a ClickFunnels conversation one time. ClickFunnels is great where what you want to do is you get your client into this one landing page, and let's, so many of us have that shiny object syndrome. Let's keep that client on the page and let's close the sale. So again, maybe the project manager or Irene or anybody that's that service provider, let's think about all the expertise and knowledge that you have, and is there an opportunity to monetize your expertise into a class? Could you do workshops, just kind of like what we're doing here right now? Could you say, hey, October 1st, I'm going to do a workshop on how to take amazing photography of your kids because who knows what's going on with school, and I can help you do your own school pictures, or I can help you do what have you. So I'm sorry, I don't mean to ramble, but that's, I love these things, but that's kind of what I'm thinking for Irene, is kind of going in that direction of how can we scale it, since, maybe you can't, weddings are not readily available right now. So that's my 2 cents.
Awesome, thank you. And Irene said many photographers are definitely doing that right now. And thank you for all the great web links for the books. I put a few of those in the chat, and I sent a few of those out that I could Google
Awesome.
and find. So that was great. Curt, what about showing like the behind the scenes of the photographer where they are doing a photography session in a COVID setting where they're talking about,
Yeah,
how they keep things clean, the masks they're wearing and stuff like that? Would something like that
absolutely.
work?
And this is still Irene, right?
Yep.
Okay, Irene, so I think it was like 60 years ago. I don't know, I can't remember what it was. So I had an e-commerce business a long, long time ago, and we tried, had dozens of mistakes, lots of failures. I tried doing, so it was like 2007, 8, and social media was new. We tried creating our own little social media platform, and we were all hell bent on it. And I spent an embarrassing amount of money trying to get this thing off the ground, and it failed, crashed and burned. The positive thing, it's always funny when you feel all the press on, you throw a huge party and nobody shows up. And what came out of that was this little tool strategy that, man, I more than recovered our investment on the previous tool. We did this thing, so we were doing like events and what have you, and we called it was inspiration boards. And what people would do is, it was basically like an ask the expert type thing. So what they could do is like ask Irene the expert, or come on, I'm not very creative or catchy, but something fun, and ask Irene. And you could say, hey, Irene, we're having a family social distance event on Saturday at Niagara Falls, and here's our setting, here's our situation. What do you recommend I use for a camera? Or what do you use? We're going to do product shoots, and what do you recommend for the right lighting? Or what do you recommend for this? So what we did is our clients would come to us, our expert, and say, hey, I'm having this event on a Saturday night at such and such. What products do you recommend that we use that you sell to help us? So now we've created an engagement where the customer has a problem. Didn't cost us a penny, cost me time to have my expert on hand to answer these questions. And then what this expert that I had on staff, I just saw her the other day. She is just remarkable. She would take random products that she felt fit for that event. She would populate it in this thing called an inspiration board. It was almost, and this was like before Pinterest, so it was almost like a little mini Pinterest page, if you will. And our customers would click on it and go to shopping cart items within we had thousands of items, and man, our conversion rates went through the roof. So if this would be helpful, and again, project manager, any of you out there consulting, again, it's not just about Irene, how can we help you help solve your customer's problem, make it as easy as possible? And so I come to you, Irene, what do you think about this? I need this camera, I'm gonna do these products, I'm gonna take a shot of my child, or whatever it is, and you could help me. And now I get these great pictures. Hey, Curt, how did you become a photography expert? Man, my friend Irene just helped me crush it. Or I could just keep it to myself and say I did it on my own. But I would give you credit for help being my guide, my big brother, big sister, kind of getting me through a tough spot. So that's what I would recommend.
Awesome. I think that's a great idea, and Irene agrees for the photography, especially because maybe they'll send you their pictures to edit after.
Exactly.
Well, cool. Curt, you've answered a lot of questions. We definitely ran out of time. So we can ask a few more, or I can export these questions for you to answer after, or folks, if they need to jump off, can definitely jump off and get the recording for the rest of this. It's totally up to you, Curt. And I think Lynn's jumping on, so we might be getting booted.
No, I actually was waiting, though, the international one. I don't want that one to go completely away. If you are going to be shipping to other countries, you do need to know what the duties and tariffs could be, and make sure you know who is paying for that, you or your customer, because that can wipe out your profits really quickly. And we've had some clients ship to Canada, not realize there were duties, and ended up not making any money on the shipment. So if you're going to be doing volume, talk to a local freight forwarder. If you're going to be doing really big volume, look for a warehouse in that country that can actually do your shipping for you. You ship to the warehouse, they ship out to your customers in that country. So definitely something we can help you talk through.
Lynn, thank you. That is phenomenal answer. And to carry on with that, so as a matter of fact, at Falconer Electronics, we were just looking at, we have decent volume, and so we've been talking about selling in now like Singapore and some of the other countries. And exactly to what Lynn's saying, you get into all these different tariffs and all these different animals. And and again, if it's small volume, you have to really question, is it worth your time and energy to go that direction? For some bigger ticket items, Lynn's nailed it on the head. Reach out to an expert, reach out to her team at the SBDC. She can align you with freight forwarders or brokers. Now, back in the day when we were selling to Canada, Lynn's making a phenomenal point. I almost found that whatever the client was buying in product, and honestly, God, it was almost to the penny. If somebody bought $100 worth of product, it was almost $100 in broker fees, GST, PST, all those other taxes. It was almost identical. Whatever they bought in product, it was almost double. And we incorporated that right into our shopping cart, and people knew it right up front. But we had some unique products that they couldn't find elsewhere. And so, and again, Canada's the size of California, and it's our neighbor. It's a great Canada is a great consideration. I would strongly encourage you to explore that. But to Lynn's credit and to her point, it's almost about double of all those additional fees and broker fees and what have you. So excellent point. Thank you, Lynn.
Absolutely. So that's probably a good one to end on. I'm thinking if we didn't get to your question, I apologize. I will put Curt's email in the chat, and I'll also put Niagara's email in there as well. That way you can send your question in a follow-up email to both of them, and then based on your question, they can kind of tackle it from there if that works.
Absolutely, and I'll even say this, I'd love to help you with your journey. And again, not that you want to listen to me ramble on for another hour. And Lynn, if you don't mind me just throwing this out there. So we're coming back. We're going to do this all over again at 1 o'clock. If you want to jump on towards the end of our 1 o'clock session, we have a rock star who's hosting us. It's going to be Val, and you could fire your questions into the second session if you wanted to. And once again, I'm going to stick around after that session. It starts at 1. Say we wind up at 2. If there's anything that you missed, jump on at 1:30, 1:45, or whatever you want to do, if you guys are cool with that, and we could try to tackle your questions then. So whatever we can do to help you, we're in this together. We're going to get it through it together. So this is I really appreciate this opportunity. Thank you.
And I'd like to thank Curt for doing such a wonderful presentation on a very complex topic that changes radically day by day. And Renee did put the link for this afternoon's session into your chat box. And if you think you know anyone that might benefit, please share that link. We have plenty of room for more. And the more people we have, the better the group of questions. So thank you everyone for joining us today. Thank you, Curt, for your wonderful presentation. Thank you, Renee. And thank you all for your great questions and for hanging on with us. Have a great day, everyone.